Hey, thanks for checking out Fast Eddie's Chop Shop. Here you have every right to be wrong, and I'm going to break it down for you. Before I get started, I want to take a moment to say, if you're young or even middle-aged, stop with the sugar, stop with the carbs. You don't want to become diabetic. With all the things that go along with it, poor blood circulation, yeah, whole functions of the body stop working weird, you know, uh, a tiny scratch on your leg turns into like a month-long infection that won't heal without antibiotics, stuff that would heal up in a day or two with anybody else. It's real, man. You gotta, go extraordinarily hard to, get healthy, keep your feet, keep your legs, all that fun stuff. So just eat right. Listen to RFK. When you're young, I know you think you're going to live forever and it doesn't matter what you put in your body, but remember this: food is fuel only. It's just fuel, and it can taste great, but it's just fuel. And if you remember that and you eat properly, just take care of yourself. Anyway, Candace Owens, Jordan Peterson. They're both idiots. They're both wrong. They're both idiots. And they both have lost my attention. Let me explain. Candace Owens, I probably listened to, I'm guessing, 100 hours of her stuff over the years. I think she wrote a book or two. I never bought her book. I've probably actually watched about 30, 40 hours of her stuff. But I always thought, smart. I liked her exposés on Kamala Harris and, her nanny and all that. If you happen to watch that, great stuff. The BLM stuff, great stuff. But she's a fool now. Jordan Peterson, I have all his books. I've been to see him twice in person. I've listened to hundreds of hours of his stuff, watched hundreds of hours of his stuff, or 100, I used to throw him on and on TV and go to sleep. Yeah, I'm one of those weirdos that likes to have the TV on as I fall asleep. And Jordan Peterson used to be just something with his voice on his lectures, and it would, put me out. Anyway, I've watched and listened to a lot and read on book and audiobook all of Jordan Peterson's stuff. Used to think he was brilliant. I used to say that guy could preach a better sermon than most Christian ministers. Let me tell you something. He is dead wrong. This crisis king, let me explain. You lost me even before that, Jordan. But this crisis king thing, I'm a Christian. I happen to believe, like most good Christians, that those who bless Israel will be blessed. Those who curse Israel will be cursed. I absolutely love the Jewish people. Now, politically, everybody has a right to their opinion. And I'm kind of, I lean towards this stuff with some of the money we give to them. Yes, give deference and help them where you can. But, sometimes I think America can go too far with the money, or at least, hey, let them start paying us back, help us out, as you gain your wealth, help America out, repay America. I do believe that they should repay America. But I believe in helping the Jewish people. I'm a big follower. So Jordan Peterson, going back to Daily Wire, when all that happened with Crisis King, I dropped my Daily Wire membership. I used to watch Ben Shapiro, Andrew Klavan, all of them. Andrew Klavan, a fool. Ben Shapiro, a fool. They just took it way, way, way too far. I get it. Emotions after October 7th, emotions were high and all that. But don't beat up on the Christians that say Christ is king, because Christ is king. I know the Jews don't currently believe he is their Messiah. But if you call yourself a Christian, you believe this. You either going to bend the knee now willingly or be forced to your knee in judgment later on. And I think it's a good idea to bend the knee willingly now that Jesus Christ is, without a doubt, King. He is sovereign of the universe. So, yeah, he's King. And to try and throw it on anybody, that to say that is somehow some sort of anti-Semitic thing is just insane. Because anyone who looks anyone else in the eye or the camera and says Christ is King and means it, also loves the Jewish people. I know there's some weirdos like replacement theology and all that. No, most good Christians understand that, yeah, we're a branch added on, but, there's the original tree, and God chose Israel without a doubt. And then he chose the church as well and added us on. But anyway, not to get all theological on you, but Jordan, you definitely lost me there. Now, he actually started to lose me before that because sometimes you can get too smart in your own eyes. He's a brilliant man, but sometimes you can, as he does, weave the stories that go too deep. He's turning into psychobabble, and it's just ridiculous. And again, I was a big fan. Now I'm never like Trump. I'm a big fan, but you never go head over heels. Like when Jordan Peterson said that he didn't sleep for a month when he was on Joe Rogan, I call phooey on that. That's BS, in my humble opinion. I think 10 or 11 days is the longest anyone's ever went with sleep deprivation. You can't survive 25 days. So, and him, apple cider, send him into orbit and all that. I call phooey on that. But I still, hey, there's lots of stuff I've said over the years you can call phooey on. We're all human beings. But anyway, he's getting too into himself. He's too wrapped up in his own psychobabble. Jordan, go back to clean your room. Keep it, young men needed to hear that. It's what grabbed my attention as an example. You have a lot of great stuff to say. Enough with all of your, psychology today thing going on. That's not what made you big. What made you big is that, sure, I guess there's some psychology to it, but psychology is a mad science, bro. There's so much crap they get wrong every day. There's so much crap you get wrong. But what you used to be good at was common sense. Go back to common sense. Tell good stories using common sense, not Carl Jung and Nietzsche and all the, go back to being Jordan Peterson, talk the smart stuff, the common sense stuff. When you do that, I'll start listening again. Candace Owens, she is, oh, and by the way, Christ is King, she's saying that. She's not a narcissist. She's not a demon spawn of Satan, basically, you called her. She's not sacrificing to Satan. Just insane. Now, Candace, though, you are a whiner. I stopped listening to her before the Christ is King thing, actually, because I realized she's a whiner. She has an ability to play victim, yet come across like I'm a bad bee. I'm a modern woman. I got my crap together. I'm all that. Now she's a feminist. She'll never admit that, but she's a bad bee. But no, you're not. And she claims she hates victimhood. People who play victim. Candace, you're the biggest player of victim I've ever seen. You just have an ability to kind of play the victim, yet Z-snap like you're awesome and you're not complaining, but you really are. Really watch her stuff. she's really just complaining. Anyway, Fast Eddie's Chop Shop. Please like, subscribe, share. Check me out. Please watch me a couple times on all my stuff. Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, everywhere. Check it out.